Welcome to the Lair, a place where interesting people you may know tell you things you didn't. So grab a chair and your favorite vice and get comfortable. There are no rules in the Lair, but there is Laura Babcock. You know her from TV, and she is not into media monogamy. Let's find out who else is in the Lair.
Yeah, well done, Laura.
So go back to your regular microphone.
Sorry, Vitek.
That's okay. I've seen it all.
Well,
maybe not all.
Let me try to find a segue to that. Is that you're a ballerina, right? And
Well,
you must get these jokes.
in professional circles, we call the artist of the dance.
You're an artist of the dance.
That's right.
Talking to Vitek Wincza. Hello. I know. Talking about Lauren's penis is exciting.
Is it done?
We're done. We're now actually talking to our next guest.
Tell your sister I say hi here.
No, I will.
So.
And she'll tell me what a terrible time she had.
Oh my God! So in a stretch for a segue, because I'm trying to figure out a way to rope in that performance to this conversation, I said to Vitek, male ballerinas get a lot of penis jokes. They must. And he said, we're actually artists of the dance, but you must get the jokes though.
Yeah, I did get jokes. Yeah, but it's sad. That's where the whole misconception is. The people creating about the male dancers, and particularly the ones who wear the tights and
Not gay.
this.
Not gay.
Not gay, because I'm not.
Yeah.
And all my friends from class were not gay. No one was gay. I've seen lots of hairdressers and people who work in steel co who are gay, and nobody talks about them. But because we're on the stage and we are in a public, front of the public, people tend to see us.
But why do you think you get that? Just because you're willing to put your body on display
I think
like
this
that?
is the sad story about the people's cultural, I don't know, the relation to the culture and the background and the cultural background, because, you know, there's great appreciation of what we do, and it's one of the hardest jobs in the world, and it should be respected, and whatever is, if this is gay or not, is this very personal thing. It's important what we do on the stage and how we communicate with the people and what we stand for.
So why is it one of the hardest jobs in the world to be a male
Well,
dancer?
the training is just to tell you, in 1 second, the professional dancer on the stage has to capture 16 things, and coming from 1 second to other second. Control in a remarkable style, and something which has a technique and also artistry, all complex things. So the focus and the artistry is, that's why we start so early on age 9 to train as a professionals. Because it takes so long to train. And after the training, you still continue train to maintain that line, classical line, so the people who say you're not faking, this is maybe ballet, maybe not. This is ballet. Because ballet is very structural and very respectful as a form of art.
What was your appeal to it? As a 9-year-old, why did you want to be a ballerina?
I didn't want to be. I want to be a soccer player. We just talk about it with Susan and everything. I hated ballet, but my neighbor loved ballet, and my friend, the same age, so she came to my mom in the coffee and said, you know, why don't we do auditions? And there was a big picture in the paper, the male dancer leaping in the air, and they did it kind of experimental class when the 44 boys were accepted out of 400,
Wow.
and only boys in that class. They want to see, I don't know, we're kind of maybe experimental thing. And it happened that I was accepted one of them. And then 7 graduates out of 44.
Wow.
Because there was very intensive training. And
So do you believe you have a gift you're born with, or did you just
I
work
guess,
for it?
yeah, but I didn't know about it. My mom didn't know about it. It's just, we went to those auditions. I had no idea what the auditions are about. My mom never been in a theater in her life. And I haven't been in a theater. But the neighbor said this may be good for him. And it was escape from because we were very poor. That was opportunity. My mom see that I could become somebody.
And where were you living at the time, Vitek?
In Gdynia, in Poland.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it was an opportunity for you. Did you think that ballet would be a profession for you at that time? Or?
Well, I didn't think for the first 3 years because I want to be a soccer player. I always said athletic. Maybe that's why they accept me, because I always been athletic. My muscles were very strong, the proportions, the ear, all the things what I had to go through the auditions were perfect for them. But for me was the soccer. And so I was exercising and doing the exercises, and there was a big window, and there was boys playing soccer, and I was always just passionately watching them. So I forgot the exercises. My teachers were screaming, throwing chairs, or whatever was that. But after 3 years, because now I understand, because I teach and I choreograph, so I understand the process of developing professional artists. That first 3 years is basically you don't move much. You're building the structure, like a sculpturing the dancer very carefully, and then you start slowly move and the things. And when we start slowly move, everything become like a soccer player. Like I've been, athletic. The jumps will become higher, the more complicated, and so everything become. I said, oh, that's my soccer. So that was my transition from
So
soccer
for
to
3 years,
ballet.
you just sculpt
I
the
hated
dancer?
it. I hated it.
Wow, I never knew there was anything like that. So how did you get from being poor in Poland to being, having the Conservatory for the Arts in Hamilton?
Believe it or not,
Sorry,
they pay
Lauren,
for.
Lauren
okay.
wants to
No,
jump
but
in.
I think, Vitek, it's important for you to suggest how a ballerina in Poland is
No
not...
ballerina, the dancer.
The dancer.
Ballerina is the female.
Ballerino.
No, that's a female.
Fair enough. Whatever. But the status
No,
of which...
it's important.
No, okay.
It's important.
Okay.
Because it's
No, but
It's
I don't
important for
think
me.
I don't think that our
Have
audience
some
understands.
respect. He says that's not
Yeah.
the term.
That's not the point I'm making, though. I don't.
That's okay.
I
I'm
don't.
just correcting you.
Perfect. I don't think that our audience necessarily understands that being a junior in the National Ballet of Poland is not like just taking some ballet in Hamilton, Ontario. This is serious full-time training.
Yeah.
So when you
You're
wanted
giving
to
it props, yeah.
when you wanted to jump to how you got to who you are now,
Yeah.
there's an entire process and a wicked story of defection.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to hear it from our guest.
That's all I was cutting into.
I'm just giving you a hard time because that's what I do. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
So,
what I
how'd
should
you
say.
get here?
How I get here? There was company. I was dancing in a national ballet company, and there was one company who traveled a lot, national dance company, Mazowsze, which later on I sponsored when I was here in Hamilton. There was 1,800 costumes and 90 dancers and 45 musicians traveling with them. So it was like a huge thing, and the Columbia artists sponsor us. And I auditioned for that because it was a special show. So I auditioned for that, and I got in, and went to the Japan, and then we went to the North American tour. We did 3 months in United States, the big auditoriums, and 2,000 seats auditoriums,
So this
100
is still,
shows.
to your point, under when they were communist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So before that, when I was accepted, then I learned the repertoire, and we went. As we were leaving Poland, was martial law. That was it was called martial law when Jaruzelski called martial law because Russians want to stand in and solidarity and all this stuff. 1981, and 82 January we left, and nobody was able to leave Poland because you couldn't even call outside. It was martial law. You just totally locked in.
was
The
that like
army.
What
army
did it
takes
feel like?
over.
What did it feel like
Army
at the
takes
time?
over everything. You see army everywhere. You have 8 o'clock. You have the
Curfew?
curfew. Yeah.
How old were you at the time?
Lights off. Have everything. What?
How old were you?
I was 24.
And how'd that feel for a 24-year-old?
Well, it was scary because I didn't know what's gonna. This is just beginning, and I know the communists gonna come in. The communists never gonna give up. Russians will never allow it. So what's going to happen next? You have tanks on the streets, you have big rebels and other stuff, so you're scared of your future. So I said, maybe this will be my opportunity. The way we left Poland was on a bus, on an airfield. Swiss Airlines picked us up because it was an independent country. We're the only ones who were allowed from Poland because Polish government couldn't pay the penalties for 4 months tour, over 100 shows. And they were big shows, so all promotion, all other things, Polish people were to pay in dollars, and I think government couldn't afford it. So they said, let them go, because it's too much penalty for us. So we were driven on the buses on the field with the guys with the guns surrounded and put us into that plane. We flew to Zurich, and from Zurich to New York, and we started the tour. So
How'd you feel?
well, I was scared, so I said, if I have opportunity, I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
But only one city in that tour was Canada, was Hamilton,
Really?
and we had the 5 shows in the Hamilton place, And that was April 5th, the Easter, and I decided to stay 5 o'clock in the morning. Somebody from the Polish community came and picked me up, drove to the Burlington, and next day the people were waiting 3 hours in the buses in the front of the Canard Hotel, and they were waiting because they thought maybe I got lost or something. And then next day I had embassy from Poland coming to our apartment and asking me if I really want to come back. They would arrange everything, and I said no. And from that time I was blacklisted in Poland.
So how did that feel leaving your mom and your family?
Well, I knew that at that time I would never see them because I didn't believe that the communists will fall. It was impossible for the communists to fall. So I was thinking that if I go back, I'm never going to see them.
So
and I'm going to go to jail or...
So how do you make that tough of a choice?
Well, it was hard. When I first called my mom, that was interrupted. So it took me 2 minutes almost to say first word because I had to tell her that I left. My letters were open, censored, and all other stuff. So it was very hard because it was hard to communicate knowing that the other soldiers listening what you say to your mom. But I was so feeling strong that this is my turn and this is my future and that's my opportunity and I'm going to take it regardless what. So I had $2.50 in a packet, one small suitcase, which I still have it, and the last show I did at the displacement, that suitcase was used, and the show was about that defection. And it ends with a suitcase. I'm opening suitcase and looking at my old photographs, exactly what's happening in the thing. And that show was awarded in Toronto as a show of the year, dance show of the year in 2009. So that was kind of about our story.
How did your mom feel about your choice?
My mom was happy, but she was brought to police maybe 5 or 6 times. They were asking her why she never told anyone and other why. But then they kind of give up.
If I can interject
go
from a
ahead.
Hamilton perspective. Yeah. So a young prodigy dancer from the Polish National Ballet defects in Hamilton and ends up, correct me if I'm wrong, as a guest teacher at one of the premier studios in town, which they then use as their calling card of, yeah. Want to take ballet there? Nah, fuck that. We've got, and in the early 80s, that elevated, before Fran and Paul split, you, as the classical dance guy, elevated them beyond anybody else locally.
Well, I was taking English classes on Kenilworth, and that was close to their school. And I was always walking, and then I was biking because I was short with the money and all the stuff for the buses. And I see the dance studio. So I walk in there and said, my muscles are dying, I want to practice. Can I use the studio when it's free?
You said my muscles are dying, I want to practice?
Yeah, because they were hungry, you know.
Your muscles were hungry.
And Paul was a tap dancer, and Fran was not exactly a ballerina.
No, he was like a musical theater guy.
Yes.
Tap dancing.
No, Paul was a tap dancer for sure,
So
and his
the
wife.
fact that you said my muscles are hungry, I want to dance, to me is crazy.
Well, that's how it feels.
Yeah, but I
You've
just
never
think
felt
so.
that way, Laura?
Look at me, you think?
No, it is, you feel tired, you know, like because you every day work for 6-7 hours and very intensively, and now you stop, don't do nothing. So never mind defection and not coming back to Poland, but your whole system is like a hockey player or
ice.
athlete stops everything. All media, all big auditoriums, and then you stop. And it's very tragical what's happened to your mind and to your muscles and to your body. Wow. You're almost like a folding, you know, it's awful. So I want to practice, and they said, okay, we give you the studio, but if you can teach some of our senior classes. I said, but I don't speak English, I'm just learning English. He said, we're going to get Polish translator. So he was translating, and most of the things I had to show, so that was good for me. So that's how I started. And then I fall in love in some point. I never thought I can teach because I never trained to be teacher. And I fall in love with working with the kids. Something, I don't know today, something happened that I didn't think about it, that there is some chemistry between me and kids. And that's how I start teaching.
So has that changed now that you have your own child, or has it intensified?
In my...
Well, you love training children, which you didn't realize you would, and now you have your own child.
Well, I don't know. Like he's fun right now, and I want him to be fun and free, whatever he wants. If I see signals, I'm gonna have him some recreational classes, see how he responds, and if he chooses that, I'm gonna support him. But I'm not gonna force him to do it.
Well, I think
because
my
it's not
daughter's
job.
about the same age as your son.
Yeah.
And I was talking to your wife, Victoria, and I said, you know, she's 1.5 at the time, a few months ago, but she loves music. Every time it comes on, she dances. Her brother was never like that. I think she has a natural rhythm. And your wife said, well, your son had started to spin, and you said that was the start of dance.
I know. That was dance. That was dance for sure. That wasn't just like a bobbling around the thing. And then he would start doing like almost like a breakdancing on the floor with the straight legs, pointed toes, and everything. 2 years old. And I said, whoa.
Isn't it great to see
this
Vitek
is,
move, eh?
and I just couldn't believe it. But anyway, I probably sound like most parents. So
That's okay. I asked
we
the
all
question.
love the kids. But,
of course.
But I actually I could see that.
But and so when she said that, and so at about 20 months, we saw our daughter spin around, and I said to Rob, Vitek says that's the start of dance. You know, it's like we got to get her into one of your classes.
Children are natural.
Yeah.
They're natural to dance and music. We're undergrading that.
So how's it being a parent after everything you've been through and everything you've achieved? And we haven't even talked about the conservatory. How's it being a parent for you? Because you light up when you talk about being a parent.
Yeah, because you see, I was afraid a little bit that maybe I'm too old and everything because I put my
You
career...
did become a parent late in life.
Yeah, I know. But also, it's great because, you know why? Because now, most people retiring in my age and trying to think, how am I going to settle comfortably somewhere, maybe in Florida or something?
You became a dad at what, 52, 53?
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm
guessing.
54
Okay.
right now. And so, but now for me...
He's in, though. He's like at the body of a 20-year-old.
Now for me, I'm just beginning because I want to see his graduation. I want to be part of his development. So I feel like my life gonna get extended more because my mind is not settling down as a retirement and try to settle everything. Yeah. I gotta be in shape. I have a bike in my bedroom and everything and pushing and going for walks 3 times a day with the dog and the baby. You know, so 3 times a day, and I have to find the time. And I can't believe it. I did, but I do find the time, and so I think I'm gonna live longer because of that.
Well, you know, when you talk to, and we haven't talked to each other in a few years because my office isn't next door to you anymore, and I miss our chats, but whenever I talk to you, you're inspiring. Don't you find, like, to come from poverty, to defect, to carve out a life for yourself, to purchase and run a conservatory for the arts, to train thousands of students, you've created so much of your life by sheer will. The fact that your muscles were hungry and you had to work out, that kills me. My muscles have never said that to me. They say, go lie down. You've always had your own motivation. And so when you say that you have a young child, I worry. I'm 40, almost 40, and I have a daughter the same age, and I'm like, will I be around for her graduation? How do I get there? And you're sitting there saying, well, by pure virtue of the fact that I want to be there, I'm going to have more vitality and more life. I mean, I love your personality, Vitek. You're so inspired by yourself and by your own motives. I love it.
Thank you.
So, but you also kind of step in it sometimes. You've been in a little bit of controversy over the years. You speak with passion about things.
You see, my inexperience, because, when I was young, the government paid for everything. Even when I got my first job, I got the apartment full furnished, and they said, don't worry about anything, just dance. No taxes, nothing. I never knew what's headache. All my focus was dance. I wasn't prepared, and I didn't have father since I was 6. So nobody taught me how to deal with the difficult situations, so I was learning as I was walking, and because I'm so passionate, I tend to sometimes to forget about diplomacy and other stuff. I just say what it is and how it is, and that hurts me.
Relate to that at all?
Yeah,
and that's because that's who I am. I don't know politics. I don't know, and I had to be thrown. Imagine being a dancer from East and coming to the West and opening the dance school, which is business, and being around surrounding with the people who just want a recreation, and your whole life you talk about professional, every minute of it. You thought you've been thrown, your muscles hurting, everything just goes, and now you cannot go back, and you have no prospect for future. And I never took unemployment. I never did this. I always decided to stick to what I'm doing, what I'm made for, regardless what's going to be. And there were sad stories. I lost 2 studios. and I had to pay back to the people, and I was really, but my passion and my will to survive and to do something, regardless if I'm going to be rich or not, to do something which is important for me, that's why I'm here today.
If I may, there's 3 public consumable dance community seminal moments that we appreciate of Vitek. The immigration story, the starting of the conservatory, and then Vitek hit Hamilton cultural superstar status in the creation of the Hamilton Nutcracker.
Yeah.
And that's so, and I don't mean to belittle the conservatory and efforts in terms of creating dance studios, but in terms of your public persona and how you were perceived and how you became an entity in town, it was through the Nutcracker. And you know where I'm going with this. But before I do, Vitek, please explain about the Nutcracker.
Well, I've been to it, and I remember that was your passion, and things got sidelined.
Well, before I push you on why it isn't, tell us about what it was.
I want to give something to Hamilton because I said, you know, I have that gift, and I want to make Hamilton as a place when the dreams comes true. Working with the kids, I know they need that. So it was about tradition. So I created Nutcracker, which happened actually in Hamilton. I keep the same story, the same music, but I turned that into the Hamilton. So in the Dundon Castle.
Yeah,
so when the kids come, they can be proud that because the way the Nutcracker goes, you go to the dreams, the Sweetlands, and you come back.
On Sophia McNabb.
Sophia McNabb and everything. So it became also educational thing. And I thought I'm gonna create a tradition, and that's how I'm gonna create the interest for the ballet in this steel town. And this will be like a kind of warming up because Nutcracker does miracles. So that was my tradition and the future cultural kind of ballet or dance because now they didn't exist. So that's why I did it.
Vitek, please explain how many performances, how many buses, what a huge success it was. Because I want to talk about what the Nutcracker is today.
Okay, average show was 12,000
You're
people
fired
were
up about
coming.
this, Lauren. I didn't know that it's coming out of left field for me.
Well, first of all, look at my turnouts, okay?
He knows, that's fifth position.
Absolutely.
He knows.
I,
Being in theater, they always been told that they have to have some kind of dance training because they will need
nothing
it.
but respect for this man.
Watch out. You don't want Lauren to start talking about positions.
And did you just hear? Oh, I'm sorry, someone's joined us. Hi. Did you just hear Lauren just say that he has nothing but respect for Vitek? Have you ever heard him say nothing but respect for a guest? No. Isn't that weird, Martinez? No, but I'm just saying you're tripping over Vitek. You didn't even know he was coming tonight.
No, I didn't.
I didn't know
I
he.
all about this.
But I didn't know he was a hero of yours in the cultural scene. You called him a.
I banged all kinds of Paul Gordon dancers back in the day.
But you called him. You called before you belittle it. You called him a cultural superstar. You called him a cultural superstar.
There's a wonderful story here. So
I'm
please,
just saying, Vitek, I don't hear this from Lauren ever about anybody.
boastfully explain the apex of success that was your.
Well, it was basically I had to do everything. I had to be producer, I had to sell tickets, I had to choreograph, I had to direct, I had to teach, I had to find the place, everything. Basically single man, and there was 99.9% volunteers who never been introduced into this market, like a performance, which is very hard. The one day to open the Hamilton place cost $10,000. We had full price. We didn't get much discounts whatsoever. So let's say I left $150,000, around $150,000 in Hamilton place, and each time. But people were coming with the children and more, so around 12,000 people every year. Plus, we did lots of school shows just to promote the education point and introduce the kids to ballet, but also history of Hamilton. So we did all of those. So it was growing, sold out houses.
So
There's
what
the
happened?
rub.
What happened?
That's the
It was
story.
too good.
It was too good.
The
Vitek
board,
got
the people.
fucked by his board.
Yeah, so I had to step out anyway. I had to step out because they want me to cut 40% of the budget, which is $80,000.
But if it was doing well, why would you have to cut the budget?
They want me out. They had
Why?
other idea. They want to run it.
Okay. Because you're passionate.
They thought that doesn't matter which Nutcracker you're going to do, you're going to sell it out. So
Fuck it, let's bring some Cubans.
yeah.
What are you talking about?
So they brought the Cubans. They brought the Cubans. So last time they even did sell one
They
show.
brought the Cubans? What are we talking about? I don't understand.
Okay,
Get to a microphone, please, Mike. You're killing our producer here. Stop smoking. Leave the cigarette and go back to your microphone. You're doing a show here. Yeah.
I'm sure that Vitek is less comfortable talking about the ousting, but Vitek was everything that your classical music celebrity was in Boris brought to the ballet community of this town.
And Vitek listened to Boris's Laircast, so you guys have something in common. You
Yeah,
both took it
I
to.
brought him back first to the Hamilton
You
place
took,
with the
you
orchestra.
took the city to a pinnacle, and then you got ousted. And why the? I can't do that sound.
Well, they just want to do their own, and they want to maybe make more money, and they want me to cut $80,000 out of that show, which was on a stick. It's like you're killing the show, basically. So I will have to take out orchestra, I will have to take out crew of Hamilton plays, or I will have to take out Kiev Ballet.
And is that
So-
what happened? The show was dead?
No, then I step out because I said I can't do it. So they said we're gonna do it. So they hire some junior company from Quebec, and that didn't go well because review was bad. So through my kind of knowledge, I know Alicia Alonso's sister in Cuban, which is Cuban ballet is one of the best in the world. And they got that contact, and they contact them, and they said because Kiev refused to work with them. So they got the contact, and Cubans came, and third or fourth year, each year was less. And last year, so there was lots of losses. I don't know how they make up those losses, but last year they had maybe 700 tickets sold.
Wow.
So even not one
So
show.
from 12,000 to 700.
You got it.
And you seem incensed.
But it was, what's most important that we lost the Hamilton tradition because people start feeling that because it was about Hamilton.
Yeah,
now
I'd
it's
go
import.
Christmas.
Now it's import.
Before Vitek was an institution in this community, it was a mother-daughter tradition to go to Toronto at Christmas time to see the
My mom
Nutcracker,
took me to Vitek's Nutcracker like 5 years ago.
which was alleviated by Vitek in this community, that there was a local production that was worthy of your dollars, that was also Hamilton specific, and a quality production
It's nice to see
that
so
had
fired
support.
up on somebody else's behalf, Lauren, I gotta tell you.
And I acknowledge this man's accomplishments, but the most salacious story is the fucking that he took from his board to have his creation ripped from under his feet. And I don't want to focus on negative, and I will shut up soon enough, but I just wanted that to be a part of this. Thank you, Belma.
You missed the finger to the microphone. Well, I remember a little bit of your angst around that time. So how are you doing now?
Things happen for reasons.
Yeah?
So, I
I'm
started...
not surprised given that you'd have that attitude.
I turned into, I said, there's so many things I can do. It was hard for me to do ballet because of that. But I started doing contemporary ballet. Then lots of things, I did it in a conservatory. We have 120 programs in music, dance, drama. And when I did Nutcracker, I had only maybe 20% of the time to spend in conservatory. So now I put my talent all in conservatory, and we're doing 50,000 children got the free of charge arts programs in the schools for half a year, not for one time. We have 15 hubs in the community right now when we're providing arts programs for free for the kids, unprivileged kids who cannot pay.
Wow.
And we have Martija, when we're working with the children to empower the children voices, and we've done, lots of exhibitions on them, and it's continue. We're gonna reinvent the parks in a way, making sure that this year children will be working on the kind of rules and of engagement when you come to the park, how we can protect the animals, and they're gonna create the visuals and like a bylaws. So you have those bylaw signs and say no smoking or
Lauren,
whatever.
you
I'm
can't go to
sorry,
the parks.
but I don't wanna. But
okay,
no
keep them out of the
leading,
parks.
no
The kids
leading
don't
or
need
something
that.
like that. And the kids were gonna create visuals, so making thinking visual, and we're gonna exhibit that. And we've been asked by the Super Crow to create the children crow. So this will be called the Family and Cultural Crow.
Well, you
and
know
we're
what?
gonna do families and bring all families, and we do educational, all high schools. We wanna participate. We wanna have educational challenge. What they like about Hamilton, what they don't like about Hamilton, what they would like to have at Hamilton, but express us through the art.
You know what, Vitek? It doesn't surprise me for 1 second that whatever happened with the Nutcracker, and since I've seen
I
you
just
last,
got into
yeah,
the
you
same
move
thing.
on
Yeah.
because you've been a survivor and a success your whole life and an inspiration. And I've never seen Lauren speak so highly of anybody. So you know what? It's a real treat to have you in the Lair cast.
Thank you for having
And your children's crawl, anything else that you do at the conservatory will be a success.
It's more of an, like, I like Vitek. I'm not in love, but it's more of an indictment on your other guests.
What, on White
That
Hat?
how much I don't like them. Except for Susan.
Thank you, Vitek, for being in the Lair. Awesome job.
Thank you very much.
Chats in the Lair is a Power Group production. Visit us at powergroup.ca or laircast.com, or check us out on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.